I learn native traditions and indigenous traditions because it lays a foundation for me to stand on that affords me the opportunity to truly have the courage to stand and be me, no matter what me looks like. It shows me that there can be many facets of me, but it's still one me. And that my native traditions versus the African traditions versus what I may have learned in New Zealand, what I may have learned in Peru, it all converges to one. And that's me, and me standing in my truth. And me is a many-faceted person. I am a person that can do a little bit of everything. But not one thing stands out that I say, I can only do this. That is the foundation of me. And so here it is that I glean the traditions of all of these different indigenous cultures, and it cultivates who I am. Because me doesn't draw off of just any one thing. That wouldn't be me. Me has many faces and knows how to pull from what I've learned to lift a person up. And whether that be from the Peruvian notions that I've learned, the Ojibwe, the African, the New Zealand, whatever that is. Whatever that is. It allows me to be able to pull from that place inside me that says, here's what needs to happen in order to lift that person up. So a lot of times we go to these beautiful retreats and everything, and we learn these huge things, and then we go and we try to incorporate it in our lives. And then the reality is that I got 5 minutes to do this, 3 minutes to do that, and I don't have time for this. And I traveled around the world. I sat with the medicine women, I've sat with the teachers, and I've embraced what they had to teach. And then what I've done is I've tried to incorporate it in my own life and made it more realistic and more practical, because I'm just like everyone else. I have a schedule to keep. I have 50 million things to do. I have children that I want to take participate in their lives with. So when I look at how and what I've learned and how to incorporate it in my life, I think that that's really the foundation of what I bring forward for people. Is I take this knowledge and then I wrap it in a way that is doable and accessible and meaningful in their lives. That you don't have to go out and call me in order for you to be able to make this hurdle and jump, but that I give you the tools you already possess versus tools that you have to go and purchase, okay? And give you the framework of how to use the tool. And then once you engage that, I just ask you to stand the test of time and consistency. The more consistent you do it, notice your own changes in your life. The more consistent you do it, notice more changes in your life. And you don't have to look outside of them, and you don't have to have people judge you. Basically, all you have to do is just be yourself, and people will come forward to you and let you know, hey, what's going on? What's changed? Something's different. I just noticed that and they will tell you what they see and how it's different. I love ancient work, and I really believe the sole purpose of Infinite Possibilities, the business that I've kept, is to bring ancient knowledge and to execute it in modern times. And that's what you will learn with me. I'll bring you to the process of being able to identify some of the hurdles you want to get over your life. But the beauty is that you walk away with tools that are actually doable, that you don't have to purchase outside or do anything, but just notice, just remember, and then execute what you notice and what you remember, and just make a different decision. And the beauty of that is that you're not running to a book. You're not running to some external thing. But all you have to do is just bring forward what you already know. Just remember. the number one word that I use within my retreats and within my workshops is notice. Notice. And I share that word with you now. Notice how you think. Notice how you make a decision. Notice who is in the lead when that decision is being made. Notice the sound of your voice as you're making that decision or as you're making that statement. Does it make you feel good? Because if it doesn't make you feel good, you know what the other person is getting on the other end. That if you notice your own behaviors and you notice things within yourself and you change things within yourself, the impact to others is automatic because it's not the same anymore. It's not your usual. And therefore, it doesn't deem the usual response. Noticing is a reflection. And what happens is we start that reflection of how we are and what we do. We usually do it in times of when we're doing mundane tasks, right? So we're sweeping and we're thinking about how the day went. We're gardening and then our whole day is flashing by. We're doing the dishes and it's just like we're thinking about that conversation. And see, the beauty about noticing and the practice of it is that we do that in times in stillness, but when you're really good at it, you'll notice as soon as things are taking place. You'll notice your thought process as it's coming to you. It's like, oh, I'm thinking about such and such, and that was really negative. And it was about to come out of my mouth. And you catch yourself before it comes out of your mouth, and you're like, oh, no, I don't want to go there. That's not what I choose. And that is a beautiful thing. And when I am mentoring or coaching or working with someone, and I am able to draw not just from the experiences, but give them pointed examples in life as to if they were to continue down this path, consider this, and then look at that outcome. And then if they were to step back, pause for a moment, allow things to unveil and stop putting their emotional body first, and taking the emotions out of it and looking at that same reality. What is it that you're learning? Look at it. It's right there in front of you. And then when you take the emotions out of it, almost like seeing it like a movie or watching it unveil the characters, you can anticipate or look at those characters and go, oh, I know where this is going. Well, if you know that, take your emotions out of it, look at your situation, you know where it's going. Why would you do that? Aha. Look at it. Sometimes without the emotions leading, and I say emotions, I mean like that pride that says, I have to have the control, or I have to have, the power, or the victim. It always happens to me. I can never get out of this. What do I do? How do I change this? Pull that emotion out, see where that path is going, notice it, and make a different decision. So I had to learn about what it meant to be an elder. When I looked at Grandmother Isabel and I looked at Grandmother Shirley, when I looked at all of these women, the one thing that they had in common and proud about was their gray hair. Like, honey, you're a baby until you have your gray hair. Or we can't even take you seriously until your gray hair is front and center and showing. And it just made me smile and grow because the gray hair represented the maturity that you had now lived enough of life to be able to share your experiences with someone younger and guide them. One of my grandmothers is 82 years old, and she shared with me, you have women's empowerment, all of the components of it, you're just not organized, honey. Let me help you. Let me help organize you. And Grandmother Shirley, God bless her, and she's raring to go to this day, helped me to organize my thoughts and my practices and my exercises and everything I wanted for women's empowerment in a methodology that I would have never, ever thought to have done. She made it akin to alchemy, which is a natural stage. And then what she did is she helped me to understand how to organize my thoughts and organize what it is I had by saying, take something that you know really well. Well, I knew fiber arts. will bring me through the alchemy of fiber arts. And now, hands down, that was easy. First, you have a sheep. The sheep is shorn. I take the sheep's shorn wool and it's skirted. And then after it's skirted, then I decide that I'm going to comb it so that the fibers are uniformed. And after I comb it, I have a decision. I can keep it that way, or I can color and give it color. And then I can dye it. I can dye it in a chemical way, or I can dye it in a natural way with food. And then once I dye it, then I have many facets of which way I want to go. Do I want it to be artwork? Do I want it to be something that I wear? How do I want this fiber to evolve? Where do I want it to go so that it's in its fullest being, in its beauty? And I was able to lay that out inside of a week, against the processes. She says, oh, you did that well, and we reviewed it, and we went over everything, and she says, okay, now do it with human behavior. Light bulb on. I got it! Because everything I needed to understand was already there. I knew how I wanted to work with women. I knew how I wanted to work with people. I knew how I wanted to empower them. I knew I had this component and that component, but it wasn't organized. And then the alchemy of it just allowed me to give it a uniformness, a step-by-step process that we have to go through. We have everything all in one. We know we want to, we have all these personalities. We know we're all of us are the victim. All of us are the child. All of us are all of these things. And then the next stage of alchemy is separation, right? We have calcination, we have separation. And then you go through each step and you break it apart, and then you want the beauty of, here's the traumatic piece, here's the beauty piece. Well, I want to work on the traumatic piece. Okay, well, let's go down the pathways for that through all of the stages. And where do we want that to end? In its beauty. But now we understand the root cause, because we understand the calcination and where it stemmed from when we separated it out. It allows you to focus in on that aspect. Understand exactly where that aspect started. When did you start feeling like a victim? When this trauma happened. What was that trauma? Well, here's a series of traumas, and let's see where each one of those branches took you to. Which one makes you feel this the most? Or is it a collection? And if it's a collection, we'll work on all three. And if it's one, let's get there.